A journey by kayak. Located right in the heart of the province of Corrientes, the Iberá wetlands can seem a remote destiny. But there are quick ways to get there. A regular flight from Buenos Aires to Corrientes brings Marianne and her friends, who in 2 days will travel the western sector of the nature reserve. Their idea is to visit the Carambola Creek, combining cultural and sporting activities. A 2.5-hour-long trip along the paved area takes them from Corrientes to Concepción. It's the closest access to the west of the Iberá from the provincial capital. The final 10 kilometers amaze these friends, who discover streams and lagoons full of birds. Towards noon they reach their lodging, a traditional ranch of the Iberá. With a park of native trees, the ranch creates the ideal ambience in which to relax in this landscape with the mark of Corrientes stamped on it. Marianne and her friends are getting ready for the afternoon's activity, an outing by motorboat along the Carambola Creek. Their guide will be Kajay, a native expert on the region. The creek opens its way along the wetlands, revealing typical species of the Iberá. Yacaré caimans rest on the shore, and even though they are no longer hunted, they still maintain their natural caution. The creek is a doorway to the biodiversity of the Iberá.
Nature always surprises. I know many places, and frankly, I never imagined it would be like this. I never thought it could be here, so close to Buenos Aires. What can I say? Us, alone with nature, right there at our feet, it's stunning.
I like the horizon. I've always liked it. That feeling of an unexplored place, uninhabited. The silence, the water, the horizon, the sun, the flowers, the birds, everything.
To know we were there in the middle of nowhere with 1 million hectares of wetlands and us there enjoying that, we were privileged.
An hour later, they arrive at an island of traditional settlers of the Iberá.
Another thing I loved was the possibility of talking with people. I love to talk with people. We had the joy of visiting settlers, and I found a woman so incredibly simple and at the same time so incredibly happy. I was deeply impressed. Then I met an expert who offered to come with us in our excursions. He had a great heart, apart from all what he knew. He ate with us and gave us the possibility to learn about his life, his education, about his customs, very different from mine, and also extremely rich.
For Marianne and her friends, the possibility of discovering a way of life opens up, one completely opposite to that of the city. Juana lives with her husband and 3 children on this island. Juana and her family depend for their livelihood on a handful of cows and other farm animals. To complete their diet, they also have a vegetable garden. And also meeting people that live there with little contact with the global world, living close to nature. That impressed me the most, I think. Ricardo wants to make the most of Chope's knowledge, to find out how these island settlers build their cabins. Here, the raw material is obtained from the environment, and it's all the settlers need. The afternoon has ended, and the group returns to the ranch. Chope stays for dinner, and the travellers share their opinions over a barbecue and wine. The pleasant conversation crowns a day full of experiences. The next day, a trip in a kayak along the creek promises new adventures in the deep Iberá. Now begins the outing the group has been most keenly awaiting. A kayak trip along the Carambola Creek. Marianne and her friends combined physical activity with an extraordinary outing through the nature at the Iberá.
I had a kayak just for me, and that gave me freedom, and we went through fields of common water hyacinths right there beside us, and then a heron appeared. It was right there, you couldn't believe it. The emotion of what I felt, of being part of this event, what more can I say? I loved it.
The canal opens up between islands and floating islands, and the weather makes the outing even more pleasant. My trip companion, well, she rowed very well, so I could just travel without having to row. But I like contact, I like sports, I like physical contact with nature, with people, with the water. Direct contact with nature is always nice.
We spent hours and hours traveling by kayak. I didn't see one single soul. I saw water hyacinths with amazing flowers, lilies, roses. I didn't see one bit of paper the whole morning, and this for me is unusual. I feel very lucky. I think it would be great if everybody could be able to participate of such a thrilling experience. The boys approached a chacaré, they came and jumped and they screamed. It was fun. And you were there in contact with nature. That stuns me. I was moved.
The journey is about to end. In a few hours, Marianne and her friends will travel to Corrientes and then to Buenos Aires. The last lunch creates the right ambience to share thoughts about the journey.
For me, this was a consciousness-raising journey. It exceeded my expectations 1 billion times. I found a diversity of birds, hallucinating colors of all shades. The chance of finding myself, especially because when you live in a city, you tend to escape being with yourself. This trip reminded me this is important. I've traveled a lot around Argentina, and I love it because it's a very generous country. But I was surprised. I've been in the north, in Salta, in the south, in Bariloche, and then I come to the Iberá wetlands. Nobody tells you about the wetlands, nobody knows them, and it's a pity. You feel submerged in the water, and especially with all those different animals from the ones you usually get to see. It's impressive. This is the thing about Argentina, and Corrientes has something I didn't know, and I think everybody should see it. It's really worth it.